Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'll be talking about the verdict from the Trump case yesterday that we got around 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon Eastern time, and I'll be talking just briefly about its implications for this election and what I expect it to do in the upcoming month. So in case you missed it, which is unlikely, but I'll say it again, Donald Trump yesterday was found guilty on all 34 counts in the hush money case in New York. And the jury charged him essentially with, actively, willingly falsifying, I believe, business records in order to, I think, cover up hush money payments made, in this case, to Stormy Daniels. Now, the Stormy Daniels story was really big in 2016, kind of hasn't been super relevant since then, but it's now more relevant than ever because Donald Trump now has been found guilty of altering records and changing them in an illegal way. So what does that mean? Well, the first thing is that immediately, we don't know his sentencing yet. The sentencing is going to happen, I believe, on July 11th. I think that'll likely be around that ballpark, but sometime in July. And that, in theory, he could get jail time for that. That is a criminal offense that could land you in jail. What's more likely, at least in my opinion, and I'm no legal expert, this is my opinion because of the things I've read over the course of the past few hours. My opinion is that Donald Trump will not go to jail, but potentially, hefty fine, a lot of payment. And there's even a chance he gets community service. There's a chance that he has a certain number of hours of community service he'll be required to do, whether that's in Florida or in the state of New York, that he'd have to commit to. So, this is a really weird case. This is the first time anything like this has ever happened. Donald Trump is the first convicted felon to ever hold the office of presidency. So, this is we're in uncharted territory right now. But to just talk for a few minutes about the implications of this ruling, on the election, I would say this is not a positive for Trump. And again, I think that's obvious. Usually when you're convicted of a crime, especially on all counts, by a jury that was very easy, like Trump, this could have easily been a hung jury. Like, it was unanimous. This decision was unanimous. 12 for 12 and convicted on all 34 counts. So Donald Trump, there were a lot of people who really thought that Trump was going to skate by this one because if it was, I believe it had to be a unanimous decision for Trump to be ruled guilty. If it was even 11-1, hung jury. So Donald Trump, I think, really could have won this case, but the defense wasn't great. And I think the prosecution was stronger than the defense, and especially when you look at how it played out in court, I think the prosecution did a better job than the defense did. I think their case was more compelling, and that is not me saying whether or not I think Donald Trump is guilty, whether or not I think he deserved this, but I think that the case itself, I think the performance from the prosecution was better than it was from the defense, because I think the prosecution, a big advantage for prosecution in all court cases is that they have more time to prepare their case. But I would argue that the prosecution was more effective than the defense was, and that's why they won this case. They won it convincingly, and that's why a lot of legal analysts have been saying for the past week or so that this was not a close case. Now, here's what's interesting to me. Here's what's interesting. I think this will hurt Trump, but I don't think that unless the election is incredibly close, like a couple thousands of votes across 3-4 states, I don't think this is going to change the election too much. I think if Trump, like in the 10-20% chance it happens, if Trump lands in jail, that would obviously change the election. But for now, I think Democrats are going to say, look, he's officially a convicted felon now. He's literally a criminal. And I think that's going to boost them a little bit, but I don't think it's going to fundamentally alter the election. A lot of people are predicting Biden is going to spike in the polls now that Trump's been convicted, but Trump has been associated with these charges for like almost a year now. Like, this is not a new thing. Donald Trump is not, in the legal spotlight in like a new way. He's been in the legal spotlight for 9-10 months. And voters have perceived him this way for a while. Donald Trump has never been someone who's been revered. And this isn't, again, me like speaking of my views of Donald Trump, but if you look at polls, Donald Trump has never been someone who's been revered for his honesty. In the same way that Joe Biden's never been someone who, since taking office presidency, has been looked on by the American public as young, joyful, and engaged. So those are two negatives of the candidates. I'm trying to balance it out here so I don't sound super partisan or give people the wrong impression. But again, Donald Trump never been considered by the American public to be an honest guy. Even in 2016 when he beat Hillary Clinton, most exit polls said that more Americans were concerned about him being a dangerous president than Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton was viewed by a lot of people to be dishonest and her character was questioned. But in 2016, Trump was still not in a good spot. And in 2020, he lost that battle to Joe Biden. Every exit poll at a national level had Joe Biden in terms of the character vote and in terms of the people who were, talking about honesty. Biden was favored by a considerable amount among those voters. So this to me doesn't this isn't like a groundbreaking. This isn't like in 2012 if Obama was suddenly convicted of something. Donald Trump has been talked about in this way for months, even years in many cases. So is this going to fundamentally change the election? No, that's my answer. I don't think a lot of I think there are going to be very few people who voted for Trump both times we're going to support him again who are going to be convinced to not vote for him or to support Biden. I doubt it's going to be I'd be shocked if there's any level of breakaway from Trump among those voters. I think if Democrats benefit from this, it will be because of independent voters who just have had enough from Trump. Because again, with every event, there's always a certain number of people where it's the straw that broke the camel's back. And so in this case, maybe it's not more than 1-2% of the electorate, but there are some voters out there who I think are in the middle who it could be the straw that broke the camel's back for them for Trump. This might be the one thing the thing that they couldn't look past, because this is a pretty severe thing. Donald Trump has not been a stranger to controversy over the course of his past 9 years in the public spotlight, or politically. But this is a new thing. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is uncharted territory. So if Joe Biden benefits from this, it will be with independent voters. It will be with moderate voters who just say, no, this is the thing that I can't look past. Now, do I think that this is going to peel away Republicans or Trump supporters? Doubt it. But that's where the gain comes from. Now, the final thing I want to say here is that, to go back to my earlier point, this will not fundamentally change the election. Like I said, Trump's been in this position for a while now. I don't think there's any voters. There are maybe a few. Again, there's millions of people out there. There are bound to be some who are, this is the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back. But I think broadly this election will not change. The number of people, the number of moderate independent voters who are turned off by this finally, I don't think are going to be enough to substantially affect the election unless, like I said, it comes down to a couple thousand votes in Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia. So that's my take. There's a chance this helps Biden in a substantial way, but more likely is that this doesn't shake up the election. Now, if Trump goes to jail or if we get more convictions sometime soon, it's different. But for now, based on what we know, even if, you're celebrating if you don't like Trump, nothing to, I think, write home about yet. But that being said, yesterday I think was a really bad day for Trump. I think it's another distraction for him. I think it casts a lot of doubt on him. I think it hurts his momentum. And Biden, I think for the first time ever for the first time in a good amount of time, is going to have something to capitalize on, something to, something new to hammer or to, kind of a new play to execute. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the trial in general, what you think the correct verdict would have been. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video.